Our first stop is the first class squash court located on the forward part of G-Deck. It measured 30 feet in length and was 20 feet wide. The squash court was also the only first class room available on G-Deck. This is the Titanic's post office, located on the starboard side of G-Deck towards the bow. This room is where postal clerks handled all of the mail on board. The postal clerks were also tasked with sorting the mail, which was contained within 3,423 mailbags. They were also responsible for handling any letters which were posted on the ship. This is the holding room, located on the orlop deck, directly below the mailroom. This is where the mailbags were held and stored. This is the first class swimming pool. It was located on the starboard side of F deck directly above Boiler Room 5. The pool water was heated by the ship's boilers and was the second pool to be installed on the ship, the first one being installed on the Olympic. The swimming pool was for first-class passengers only, as it was part of the Turkish bath complex. The pool was also open to women from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. and open to men from 2 p.m. to 6 p.m. The pool was 30 feet in length and 14 feet wide. It had a depth of 6 feet, but was often filled to the 5.5 foot mark to allow for some movement while the ship was at sea. This is First Class Cabin C8, located on the forwardmost part of C deck on the port side. This is the first class barber shop, located on the port side of the aft grand staircase landing. The barber shop offered 2 swivel chairs, a marble countertop with 2 sinks, and a leather padded waiting bench. This is the ship's hospital. It is located on the aft end of D deck. It was used by both first and second class passengers. The hospital contained a surgery room, 4 wards, a padded room, 2 bathrooms, 3 water closets, and 2 infectious disease wards. This is the Maids and Valets Saloon. It was located on the starboard side of C deck next to the aft grand staircase. This is where the servants of first-class passengers ate. This is the B deck landing for the aft grand staircase. This landing was used as a restaurant reception area for patrons of the Café Parisien and a la carte restaurant. The room is specially designed in the Georgian style and painted white like the main reception room on D deck. There was also a recess for coat storage and comfortable rattan seating arranged in groups throughout the room. These are the starboard side first-class gangway doors. Passengers would enter the ship through these doors. This is a first-class private promenade. It was connected to first-class suites B53 and B55 through the private sitting room, which is through the door you see on the left. These are the first-class elevators, which took passengers as far down as E deck and as far up as A deck. This is the A deck landing for the forward grand staircase. This room allowed access to the first-class promenade on either side of the ship. The first-class promenade was a long stretch of enclosed deck that stretched 192 feet on either side of the ship and allowed passengers to enjoy the fresh air without having to go up to the boat deck. This is the boat deck landing for the first-class forward grand staircase. This was the topmost deck for the grand staircase. Those two doors you see lead to the officers' quarters, and eventually to the bridge. This landing also allowed access to the boat deck. Let's head out there now. The funnels are massive, aren't they? Each one stands 62 feet above the deck and have diameters of 22 feet. But let's not get distracted. This is the boat deck. This deck housed the ship's 20 lifeboats, 16 of which hung from 32 individual davits. The other 4 were stowed on the deck and deck house above the officers' quarters. The boat deck was directly above the first-class promenade. That raised part of decking you see on the right is the raised roof above the first-class lounge. The tower you see standing on the raised deck is the compass platform. That is where crew could get a more accurate compass reading from the compass, which was always stationed on the platform. These are the motors that powered the ship's elevators. This is the ship's wireless room. This is where the wireless operators sent out messages to other ships or to the mainland. The gold tubes you see running across the wall are pneumatic tubes. They were pressurized tubes that carried passenger messages all the way up from the purser's office on C deck. This is the wheelhouse. This is where the ship is steered from while at sea. The two cabinets you see on either side of the helm held the ship's signal flags. These flags could be used to signal to nearby ships for different scenarios. The back wall of the wheelhouse housed a lot of different gadgets, such as telephones, as well as the controls for the watertight doors. This is the navigation bridge. This is where the telemotors were located. Telemotors were used to give commands to the engine rooms and tell them how fast the ship needed to move. This helm was used while navigating through harbors or rough weather, as the navigation bridge offered more of a view of the ship's bow. There was also a third helm that was used only while docking, and that was located on the aft docker bridge, which is mounted on the poop deck on the stern. This is the gymnasium. This room was equipped with the state-of-the-art exercise equipment, including 2 electric camels, an electric horse, a rowing machine, a punching bag, a weightlifting machine, and 2 mechanical bicycles. This is the first class lounge. The lounge had an impressive height of 12 feet, which was accomplished by raising the ceiling above the level of the boat deck. The room offered tables, chairs, sofas, and armchairs for passengers to sit. At the center of the forward wall was a gracefully carved gray marble decorative fireplace. This is the first class smoking room, located on the aft end of A deck. This room was exclusively for men. The room was decorated with dark mahogany paneling, inlaid with mother of pearl, and were richly carved. Numerous large stained glass windows were installed in penimented niches within the paneling, and were illuminated from behind.